I think you're going to really like this next segment when I took both of these camera systems into the camera room and I did a portrait. Unfortunately, it was a self-portrait, since many times when I want to do this, it's hard to get people available. And my wife doesn't want to pose for me anymore. She mentioned payment. And I said to her, don't worry, honey, I'm not going to charge you that much. So, all right. Anyway, so I was a guinea pig here. And I started off actually using the Nikon D7200. And on both of these camera systems, I started off with the same settings as I was using with the outdoor images. We were using auto white balance. And I had the Nikon picture control set to Vivid. And on the Fuji X-T10, in the film simulation mode, it was set to Velvia. So kind of saturated, but I just wanted to see. I just kept it that way to start so you have an idea. So here we're looking at the first image taken with the Nikon D7200. And notice we're shooting at the ISO of 100 and my f-stop is f11. Now, I know you're wondering, well, you have this beautiful fast lens. Why are you shooting at f11? Do you really need this lens for that? No, I don't. I can use other lenses that I have, but I know that if I wanted to, I have that option of going to 2.8, which most of the time I'll shoot, if not 2.8, close to it if I'm doing outdoor portraits. But in the camera room here, I need a little bit more leeway, especially if I'm doing a self-portrait and I focus manually and I step in front of the lens. I want to make sure I have a little bit depth of field so I'm on the same plane and so that I'm in focus. But anyway, that's the reason I'm shooting at f11 here. But when we look at this image here, it's close to a natural skin tone, maybe a little bit on the green side, but of course, remember we're shooting auto white balance. So next I wanted to see the results that we get coming out of the Fuji X-T10. And again, using the 50 to 140 millimeter lens, and look at the difference here. Of course, keep in mind this was set to Velvia, which is a little bit more saturation and auto white balance. Now, Fuji has the capability of producing some really nice colors. Of course, here we're set more for oversaturation in colors, something that I really like when doing landscape or outdoor photography, but in the studio it's not a natural skin tone, to me anyway. Now I wanted to see the results if I use my Fuji X-M1, which as you may know is basically a fancy point and shoot camera that can give you professional results. So I wanted to see the results if I put this 50 to 140 millimeter lens on that. And that's it here. Again, it's oversaturated because I had a similar setting on my Fuji for oversaturation in colors. But you can see the sharpness of this lens, of both of these lenses actually. It's just fantastic. So knowing that when you're going to be doing some photography in the camera room, and I'd say just about always you want to look for natural skin tones. So I started with the Nikon D7200 and I did a custom white balance, and this is it here as it comes right out of the camera. Custom white balance, shot at f9 with the 70 to 200 millimeter lens. I was set to the shortest focal length, which was 70 millimeter on here. And as we come in close, we can really appreciate how sharp this lens truly is. And this is especially useful for when you're photographing people with facial hair. In fact, one of the reasons that I grew facial hair was not to scare mice and small children, but to use it as a focusing point so you could see how crisp this lens truly is. And also, as we zoom in with the 50 to 140 millimeter Fuji lens, we can also see the sharpness of this particular lens. I'd say that both lenses are just about equally as sharp. So then I wanted to see what the results would be if I were to use my Fuji X-M1 for a studio portrait. And in this particular case now, I went back to using the kit lens, which is the 16 to 15 millimeter f3.5 5.6 lens. And this lens is relatively inexpensive. I think that when I bought this camera kit, I believe it cost just $100 more for the lens, but I think now if you buy this lens new, it may be about a couple $100 brand new. But this is a relatively inexpensive. I know it's not the best made lens because there's a lot of plastic on it, but as far as optics go, it is very, very sharp. So here you can see the result coming straight from the camera using the X-M1 with the kit lens. And it's just a little bit underexposed, so I just upped the levels just a little bit to suit my taste. And then you can see the results. Very, very nice for using mainly a point and shoot with a kit lens. And as we zoom in close, also we can see it is very, very sharp. Now on this particular close-up, I was a little bit further back, so I had to zoom in a little bit closer than I did with the other one. So it may not appear as sharp, but I'd say just about as sharp as the other lenses, maybe just a tad bit softer. But for the cost of this lens, it really is spectacular if you're looking for sharpness. So now you can see what these two camera systems are capable of reproducing in the camera room. And I highly recommend that you take off any kind of film simulation mode, put it on standard or more of a neutral type of a setting. But highly recommend also that you shoot with a custom white balance if you want to get nice natural skin tones. So both of these camera systems with their telephoto zoom lenses, as I tested here, would be a great choice for doing either studio or outdoor portraiture because of their ability to shoot in low light and also the ability in producing really sharp images at any camera setting. And if we add just a little bit of enhancement and retouching to our images, we can make almost anybody look halfway decent. And coming up, we're going to take a look at how you can add even more creativity to your images using film simulation, advanced filters, and panoramas. You don't want to miss this.